welcome back to the 1% Show. If you're new here, tune in to hear me spin the yarns with authors, savants, and eccentric humans every week. Today on the 1% Show,
is there like a secret to your speed, or is it just raw practice and the fact that you enjoy it?
Raw practice, the fact that I enjoy it, and also I can say, and this may not work for everybody, music. I listen to some Schoolboy Q and some sometimes it can be raunchy rap, but the beats really help me like get more aggressive with my speed, and because I don't really give 100% on every quote. I don't. Now, quotes that I know I can get really high scores, I will try my best, but something about typing while listening to music really has always helped me amp up, for lack of a better word.
Is that popcorn popping in the background?
Oh, are you making popcorn?
No, I'm not, but I can hear some popcorn sounds.
Funny.
Oh shit, can you hear me?
I'm your Aussie host Brandon Nankivell, and it's time to kick back and enjoy the show. Let's go. This episode is brought to you by Blinkist, a pretty sweet app that gives you key insights from over 2,000 best-selling non-fiction books, transformed into powerful packs you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes. These powerful packs are known as Blinks. Some of my favorite blinks include super intelligence, deep work, and the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Head to Blinkist.com/1% better to get started. That's Blinkist, Blinkist.com/1% better. 1% better is all words, lowercase, no spaces. Again, head to Blinkist.com/1% better to access key insights from over 2,000 best-selling non-fiction books straight from your phone.
To give the listeners listening right now some context, Kelly is a super fast typist. I am confident in saying, Kelly, you're probably one of the most fastest typists in the world, and I'd say you're in the top 0.1%, definitely in the top 0.1%, because if I look at your Type Racer profile, which is a competitive typing game / competition app on the internet, looking at your stats, it says, let's see, so your all-time average is 124 words per minute. Does that sound right, Kelly?
Yes.
Yeah, and you race faster than that currently, and you're in the top 99.9% of races according to Type Racer. So she's a really fast typist, and that's part of the reason why I've got you here today, Kelly. So I'm really excited to hear your story. So Kelly, can you take us back to when you were 14 years old? What was life looking like for you?
Life. I would have been in high school, and I would have been skipping my typing classes in high school and going to second and third lunches.
Right. So what do you mean by second and third lunches? You mean like lunch break?
Correct. Yeah, the high school would have, people would go to their, I think it was fourth or fifth period and the first lunch. Then the bells would ring and certain kids would come out and go to the second lunch. And then again, they'd go to a different period and then come out and go to a third lunch. So, and that was my typing class. Yeah, I always skipped that during high school. And you see, it pays off, kids.
There you go. Isn't that interesting? So moving on to when you were maybe like around 18 years old, when you came out of high school, what was life looking like for you then? What were you up to?
Where was I when I was 18? I actually moved to Ohio for a little bit, and I was living out there with my father and his girlfriend. And then I moved back to Florida, and then I headed on my venture to Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
Right. So what did you get up to in Colorado?
Nothing that I can say on this podcast. No, Colorado was great. Colorado, met lots of crazy friends that I hope to be friends with for the rest of my life. It was really cool, man. A lot cooler than Florida, that's for sure.
So did you do a bit of partying? Is that what we're saying?
Absolutely, yes.
I hope you've had a great time. Fantastic. So I always love to ask my podcast guests, get a bit of an overview of where they've been and where they come from. So what are you up to right now? What does your daily life look like?
My daily life, it's probably boring for most people. I work for a judge, and I do a lot of paperwork, answer a lot of calls, etc.
So you're This is the first time I've really talked to you in person, Kelly, but my understanding is that, so you work at a law firm and do transcribing, is that right?
No, I used to work for the state of Florida as a digital court reporter, where I would monitor trials and take notations down. If the jury had, I know your system's probably different living in Australia. People here that are arrested and accused of crimes have the right to trial. When those trials are done, there are people who monitor them and make notes of what's going on in the trial. I used to do that. Now I work for a judge who basically decides whether you're going to prison or whether you're going to have your freedom.
Wow. Okay. And so did that previous job then, you said you took notes. Was that all on the keyboard? Were you typing every day?
Yeah, it was all on the keyboard, yes.
When did you first learn to touch type?
I first learned to type in 7th grade. I was probably about 11 or 12 years old at the time, and I could only type 30 words a minute.
So was this something you learned in school or something you learned at home in your spare time as a hobby?
It's something that I was technically taught in school, and then something that interested me enough to continue and to seek out sites like TypeRacer to continue practicing my skills.
Ah, interesting. And so you must have joined TypeRacer when you were, like 11, 12 years old, is that right?
Oh, no. No, I actually only joined TypeRacer. I think it's 2014, 2013. So it hasn't been that long, just a few years. But when I was younger, I had AOL, which is an internet connection, sort of like anything that you would have nowadays, but it was dial-up. And they had a chat room I used to go to that was called Scrambler, which was basically music lyrics twisted up, and you'd race against other people to see who could uncode the lyrics and type it the fastest.
Wow.
So this addiction to typing goes really deep.
Yeah, sounds like it. Do you know if Scrambler is still alive and running?
I have no idea. I don't have AOL anymore, and I'd have to have AOL in order to go back to that chat room, but I'd hope so. I'd hope there's some other little kid that's out there perfecting their typing ability as well I'd love music, so it was great. It was great.
Yeah, fantastic. So around that time, about 12 years old, and you're typing about 30 words per minute, or whatever it was. When did it start to ramp up to, say, 60 or 70? Is this something you tracked?
Started typing about 30 words a minute in middle school. By the time I graduated high school, I was up to about 90 words a minute. And then I've always kind of consistently typed over 100 words a minute, but probably about the time I was 18. So that was a good period of time, but I wasn't really going necessarily for speed. If that makes sense. I just because I've always loved typing, not because I wanted to be the fastest or anything like that. It's just always helped me relieve stress, and I just always really enjoyed it. Okay,
and to delve deeper, what is it that, because most people that I know of just sort of see typing as typing, you do it, but you actually love typing, a bit like me. So what is it that you love specifically about typing?
What do I love specifically about typing? I don't know, everything, and being able to type, I don't know. I can't articulate what it is that I love about typing. What I love about really TypeRacer, really, that's more of the addiction than the typing in general. It's, I have private chats, and you meet a lot of people, and, a lot of tips can be given. And I always like to be as helpful as possible, because I really feel that anyone can type that fast just with practice and honing in on your skills. Anybody is able to type like the Sean Ronas and, etc. So I think anyone's able to do it as long as you practice enough and, you trust yourself and your accuracy. I think anyone can hit over 200 words a minute.
Fantastic. It's not necessarily this magic gift or natural born talent, is it?
Hell no.
We can all develop ourselves. I love your message. And just briefly touching back, you mentioned a guy called Sean Rona. Could you explain to our listeners who that is?
Oh, Sean Rona. Never had the privilege of typing with him, unfortunately. I've begged and pleaded, and he comes on late at night. And I do have to mention, I only type at work. I do not have a computer at home, so I'm kind of limited as far as my typing ability. But Sean Rona, as far as I'm aware, is like number one. He can take any messed up paragraph with anything in it, capitalization, different punctuation, and he's just incredibly fast. He's like a 170 words a minute plus typist on anything that he ever types.
Have you seen the video on YouTube of him at one of the world competitions?
Yes, and then they put that quote on Typeracer, and I can barely get 80 words minute on it. It's horrible. I was like, oh shit. So it's a fine line between a typist like that and a typist like me. Yes, I'm very fast, but am I fast like him? No, but we're kind of grouped into the same box, which I think is very strange because he far exceeds anything that I could ever produce. That is for sure.
Yeah, right on. So what speed are you averaging now?
I really, I'll be completely honest. I race select a lot. When I first started, my 124 average that I have, I typed every single quote. It didn't matter if it was long, short, easy, hard, whatever it was, I typed everything. I'm at the point now, especially in my position, where if I get a phone call or if the judge needs something, I can't always maintain those races. So it's really not a fair average what I have right now. It's really based on me race selecting. Let's just be 100% honest.
I love your transparency, Kelly. Yeah, I'm the same. I think a lot of us are, because there is, just to the listeners listening in, they probably don't know what this race selecting is. Could you just briefly explain that?
Race selecting is going into the races, seeing what the quote is, and then refreshing the page so that you can find another race, until you find a race that you'll do well on and that you'll have time to complete before you get a phone call or before somebody needs something from you.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, we all I think the majority of us do it. I know there are some purists out there, or they have a purist account where they never ever race select.
Good for them.
Yeah, but personally, I don't mind race selecting a little bit. If I get just a treacherous one, or I don't know, my cat scratches me, or something along those lines, and I just go, oh fuck it, and then refresh the page. No worries. Thanks for your...
I was gonna say, know that, Alex. He messed up my private chat. Now you have the ability to look at all the races you've done and actually select specific quotes and redo them. So that's an advantage that Typeracer has. So
okay. Do you have a favorite line or quote you like to type on Typeracer?
Yeah, I have quite a few. I like rhymes. I'm drawing a blank on the actual quote. Rhymes trap you into something, saying, believe, pyre, even fire. I don't really care for bloke. I know a lot of people like bloke. That's a fairly easy quote, but my accuracy is never good on it. And I like one of the newer quotes. Don't tell me isn't in the right. I have no idea. But if you're on Typeracer, you'll know the quotes that I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I know that bloke one. It goes something like, I know a bloke who knows a bloke who knows a bloke, something bloke, something like that.
I once hit 198 on it, and I couldn't save it because at the time I hadn't passed the CAPTCHA. And yeah, so that sucked, but that's the best score that I've ever gotten on that quote.
Wow, that's impressive. What's your fastest race ever? How many words per minute?
The fastest ever typed was 256 words a minute.
Wow. Do you know what quote that was on?
But if we're going to remain transparent, I've also been told by some of the moderators, I don't know if this is true or not, I'm assuming, I'm going to go with it, that it was lag-induced.
Okay, that's interesting. Regardless, even if it was 192 or whatever you said before, that's just out. That's outrageous. It's a abnormally fast pace. That's amazing. So, all right, a few more questions here. What keyboard do you use at work?
Oh, I use my given work keyboard. It is a Dell keyboard, standard black. It's not mechanical. It's a QWERTY keyboard given to me by the state of Florida to do my work.
So
nothing fancy. Nothing fancy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's interesting. There's a lot of racers that are all on their mechanical keyboards. Like I'm personally using a DAS Ultimate 4 or something just because I like the feel. But how much do you think a keyboard comes into play in terms of your typing speed? Do you think it affects it much, or is it all about technique?
I think to a certain extent it does. I think your technique definitely plays at hand, but I've noticed I've worked for the state of Florida for 6 years, and I've probably gone through about 5 or 6 keyboards. The one I'm currently on right now, if I could maintain my accuracy, I could start dropping some 200 words a minute. I haven't had the time to really do that, but I really do think the keyboard does play a lot into it. But you ask other people and they say no, but why are people spending hundreds of dollars on really fancy keyboards if they don't help you out that much? So that's my opinion.
Sure. That's really interesting, because there's all these sort of like, we can get to the specifics of like actuation points and all the different MX keystrokes and the amount of tension you have to use to press it. And we could go really far there. I don't know what all the science and dynamics is behind that, but all as I know is it feels better on a mechanical. That's all I can say. So yeah, that's an interesting path we could go down. But anyway, I've got some other questions for you. Have you tried a Dvorak or a Colmac layout?
No, no idea. I learned on the keyboard that I practice on now, and I've never experimented with the closest I came to experimenting, and I hated it, was an ergonomically correct keyboard where the keys are split down the middle, and good luck if I get 60 words a minute on something like that.
We got to have like a Colmac battle one time. We'll just both hop on Colmac for the first time and have a race. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan, man.
Yeah, that would be so fun. Yeah, I don't know how the Dvorak typists do it. I'm sure it's just practice or rewiring their brains. I don't know what the deal is, but that's definitely something worth trying down the track, I reckon. Would you say is there like a secret to your speed, or is it just raw practice and the fact that you enjoy it?
Raw practice, the fact that I enjoy it, and also I can say, and this may not work for everybody, music. I listen to some Schoolboy Q and some sometimes it can be raunchy rap, but the beats really help me like get more aggressive with my speed, and because I don't really give 100% on every quote. I don't. Now, quotes that I know I can get really high scores, I will try my best, but something about typing while listening to music really has always helped me amp up, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I see. I've heard of some typists that listen to music, and yeah, I agree. I do listen to some myself. I don't know how to actually test, or whether you know how to test whether it is, but I think based on intuition, you can sort of feel that it does make a difference. So what are some, for those struggling to get past the 100 words per minute mark, do you have any advice or insight on the mistakes people make?
Too much hesitation, because I even do it myself as a typist now, where you know where the key is, but you hesitate. You're thinking about it, and you're not reading ahead to see what the next words are. You have to trust. If you practice and you know where your hands are supposed to go and what keys are supposed to press what, you'll be fine. It's the moment you hesitate and don't trust yourself that you will find a lot of issues with your typing.
Do you link words in your mind? Like if you see a group of 3 words, do you piece it together as sort of one element and then type out the element? Or do you look at every single word individually and just type one after the other?
I'm looking at every word individually. When I'm typing one, I'm looking at the next one and thinking about where my hands or where my fingers are going to go to type the next word.
Okay. Yeah, I see. All right, then. So for those listening in, if they want to improve their typing skills, if we could nail it down to 3 tips for typing faster, you've already mentioned some, but if we could unify it into 3 tips to help typists type faster, what would they be?
Learn your keys. Have your keys down without looking down. No looking down. No looking down at all. You must look at your screen at all times. Always have your fingers on your home row keys, and then practice. Not everyone can be Sean Rona, but if you practice enough, maybe you can be.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for that. How about for like the hard stuff like numbers? Are you good at typing numbers?
That's funny. The neighborhood drug dealer just passed by. I'm just kidding.
You better go stop him, Kelly.
Oh, shit. Oh, Lord. Well, this has been...
Is that popcorn popping in the background?
Oh, are you making popcorn?
No, I'm not, but I can hear some popcorn sounds.
Funny.
Oh, shit. Can you hear me?
We can. Do you want to join the conversation?
Yeah, I do.
No, remember you asked me about other people? Michael DeRoche, who's definitely a faster typist than me. Maybe he's making popcorn over there.
Is that Michael? Wait, Kelly. Is that Michael DeRoche?
It is me.
Are you the Michael? Are you the Michael from Type Racer?
Oh, yes, I am.
What on earth?
I'm typing here, but I'll give it a try.
Michael DeRoche 1. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize. 188 words per minute, 16 minutes ago?
Yes, sir.
What on earth? Wait, so are you two together or are you friends or what's the deal?
I'm just in this call right now. She gave me the link, so here I am.
Ah, fantastic. Welcome, Michael. I had you in mind. I'm not going to lie. I literally did have you in mind. You're always at the top, on the top of the chart there. And you sort of came in the scene, I don't know, I think I remember maybe a year or two ago, maybe 18 months. How long have you been on Type Racer?
I joined January of 2015. It's around like 125. Didn't think 200 was possible for me, but I kept pushing, and sure enough, here we are.
Yeah, fantastic. Man, we've got to have like an even bigger group hangout and just have like a typing party or something and just all invade Type Racer in our own track or something. That'd be awesome. Are you making food or something, Michael? Or maybe it's my dodgy internet connection that's making these popping sounds.
My keyboard going.
He's typing.
Ah, I see. Okay. Could I stop you from...
keyboard? Tell him what kind of keyboard you have.
No, just quickly, Michael, could I ask you to stop typing? I sound so demanding. Stop typing for a little bit and ask you a few more questions?
Sure.
Yeah, and Kelly, feel free to listen in. This is great. I'm so glad you invited Michael. This is like a duo podcast. How cool is this? So to the listeners listening in, how do I say your last name?
DeRoche.
DeRoche. Okay, so Michael DeRoche is another top typist, and I'm looking at his stats here on typeracer.com, and he's in the top 99.9% of typists, so easily one of the fastest typists in the world, no doubt. Average speed all time is 134.896 words per minute, and his average speed in the last 10 races is 146 words per minute. So these are some extreme speeds, sort of like just below Sean Rona. I think Sean Rona, like Kelly said, is around 170. So this is some pretty intense shit. What keyboard are you typing on right now, Michael?
I use an Apple keyboard.
An Apple keyboard. The slimline. So maybe you get some more, faster response time with the keys hitting the little electrical circuits. What do you reckon?
And they're definitely, like low. You don't have to get much pressure on them to activate the switch. I can't type in mechanical or desktop or whatever else. I just can't use anything like that.
That's interesting. So do you find it's like all the other keyboards, mechanical keyboards, are all too deep? You have to press down too far?
For me, they are. And I always end up hitting the sides of the keys because I'm used to typing on this Apple keyboard where the keys are like a fucking half a centimeter tall or something. So if I'm trying to use a mechanical keyboard, I just hit the sides of the keys.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay. So when did you first learn to touch type?
I don't know. It just happened. Like, I've had computer access because I was 3, 4, something like that, and I was just doing my thing.
Okay,
it kind of happened.
So were you hunting and pecking at the start with your 2 index fingers?
I mean, I'm sure I was. That's kind of how everyone learns, right?
Yeah. How did you know about the home keys though? Did your hands just gravitate towards there and you go, oh, well, I guess that's the middle of the keyboard, and you just went from there, or what?
So I had typing class for a few years in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it too much, but I assume they taught us home row and all that stuff. I definitely don't use home row anymore. I think
okay.
Tension makes things not ergonomic to type, I suppose.
Right. So what do you do then?
The way Sean explains it, I think, is really good. He says use whatever finger is appropriate for every letter, depending on context, essentially. So, for example, you have FR, like in the word from.
Mm-hmm.
I believe home row, you do 2-2. Is that right? Index finger both times.
Yeah.
But I would do 2-3, because you can do, the 2-3 a lot quicker than you can do 2-2.
Oh, what do you mean by those numbers? Does each finger correspond to a number, or what do you mean exactly?
So we're always using these fingering numbers on the type racer Discord. It's the same as piano, where pinky is 5, thumb is 1.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of used to talking that way.
Yeah, sure. So 2-2, 2-3. I'm going to look more into that. That's something really interesting. Yeah, I did read on, I think, Sean Rona's old school website that he just uses whatever finger is comfortable. That's really interesting. I've never really thought of it that way. So when you're starting a race, do your fingers rest on the home keys and then you deviate from that throughout the race?
No, when I start, I try to position over, as many characters as I can.
Man, that's some trippy shit. I'd love to see that, like, live in action. How are you with numbers?
I'm all right. Not that good. Last month, they had a number text on the Type Racer Championship. I think Taro Yada from Japan was able to get over 200 on it, 200 words per minute. I think I did like 140 something.
Wow.
So that's kind of how fast number typer.
Yeah, impressive. And you said what? You went to a typing championship?
No, it's every month on Type Racer. Noah Horn is doing a championship.
Right. Let's type that down. Okay, is it what, like a private track, or is it on the blog? How do we get involved?
That's an alternate universe. I can give out the link here.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
So just typeracer.com/? Universe equals championship. And every month he puts up between like 3 and 5 quotes. Everyone types it, and the fastest typists, rest of the top, of course. Sean Rona wins every single month. So far this month, he has the best score in every text.
Interesting. I didn't realize Sean was still sort of semi-active.
Sean's pretty active again. He's on Type Racer.
Okay. Have you ever talked to him at all?
Yeah, talked to him a lot.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. He's certainly someone I'm determined to get on a call, being probably the most, the fastest typist in the world. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to join you on that. But anyway, we're still on the call here. We've got listeners listening in. Hope you guys don't mind. We've gone off track, but some really interesting stuff. I asked Kelly before, what are your top 3 tips for typing faster?
Well, really all it comes down to is practice. If you want like quick tips, I guess don't try to type fast. Think of it more mentally. Your fingers will adjust to your mental processing speed. So it's really not a physical thing to type fast. But the fingers don't necessarily move fast. There's just less hesitation between the fingers. Type comfortably. Anything like think about why it's hurting and fix that.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it seems like I once heard this. Sorry if I cut you off. I once heard this advice. I hear it from a lot of fast typists, and that's to focus on accuracy, not speed. Because if you focus on typing accurately, eventually that becomes the norm, and you can type faster than what your new accuracy becomes. Because if you focus on speed, then you're just making mistakes, and we all know that making mistakes, it can really push your typing speed back.
Yeah, definitely. I have pretty bad accuracy myself. I'm around like 92, 93. But I know it's best to have better accuracy than that, which is done simply by slowing down, thinking about it. I think just like an optimal accuracy around like 96 on average, where it's like the perfect balance between hitting all the right keys.
For sure. Do you have any background in playing piano by any chance?
Yes, I do. I've been playing classical and jazz piano since I was 4.
And do you think that helps?
I think that's where the dexterity came from.
Interesting. Yeah, I was talking to another guy called Chris Mullins, and he said he actually, sorry for cutting you off, he said he played piano too, so I'm feeling like there might be a link between typing and piano playing.
Did you say Chris Malmquist?
Forgot. I think Chris Mullins is his name. He's usually on 10 Fast Fingers.
Okay, I know the guy. That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of typists that also play piano. That go hand in hand. This guy from Brazil, Cocaine, got the fastest fingers of anyone. He's an electric guitar player.
Have you tried either Dvorak or Colmack layouts?
No.
Do you plan to?
No. I think that possibly like a kid starts on Dvorak or whatever. But at this point, I have QWERTY so ingrained in my head that I'd never be able to pick up another layout.
Yeah, I was just saying to Kelly before, we should all like just hop on a Colmack race and race away with a Colmack layout. I think that would be a bit of fun, and we'll be typing like 30 words per minute or some shit.
I'll do that at the time.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I think I've covered most of my questions here for you guys. So if there's any other stories, any other tips, or anything else you want to share, now's the time. Otherwise, we can start wrapping up. So is there anything you guys want to share?
I would just like to say that I have mad respect for all the people that are born in other countries, coming to type race or typing in English as fast as they do. I mean, really, let's be real. 100 words per minute is pretty friggin' fast. I don't know many people that can even type 100 words a minute. So when I tell them I type as fast as I do, they're shocked. But honestly, respect for those who it's not their first language to be able to come and type. Because I've tried foreign languages and I'm typing just as slow. So mad props.
How about you, Michael?
I've got nothing.
No worries. All right. Thanks again for coming on today, guys. I appreciate you sharing. And to the listeners listening in, I hope you enjoyed the call. Hearing some of the wisdom from the fastest typists in the world. Maybe next time we can get Sean on too. That would be pretty sweet.
Gentlemen. Good night.
What's up, 1% family? We are here in post-production. So we actually recorded this episode on April 20, I believe it was. So, just put the pieces together there. I think that's what Kelly said just before this podcast ended. And I think there was a miscommunication between Kelly and I. I didn't quite understand, but Michael ended up joining the call sporadically. I had no idea he was joining, and I was hearing this fucking popcorn sound. I'm like, what the fuck is that? But it turns out it was just him with his profuse typing habit. It was funny. I had to ask him to stop typing. So, Michael, if you're listening, that was funny as fuck. I'm just in post-production, and I just couldn't stop laughing, man. That was hilarious, man. You are a true ripper at typing. I don't know how many races you've done. I think I forgot to ask you, but it's something fucking ridiculous. Like tens of thousands of races. It's just insane. So keep at it. Keep at it, Kelly. And for the listeners listening in, thank you very much for joining in on today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh, and thanks for tolerating the below average audio quality. We are improving the podcasts. We are improving the podcast recordings as we go, attempting to up my technical skills, but really, right now, it's all about just fucking getting it done, hey, and having a good time. So yeah, over time, we'll improve the audio quality. No worries, have a good one. If you'd like 3 gold nuggets from the book I'm currently reading, packed into a short, entertaining, weekly email, then head to brandonnankivell.com/subscribe. This is also the best way to interact with me and keep up with what I'm doing. Again, head to brandonnankivell.com/subscribe. As usual, thank you for listening, my friends. I release new episodes every week. Make sure you don't miss one by subscribing. It's super easy and means a lot to me. Go to iTunes, search for The 1% Show, and click subscribe. Once again, I'm your host, Brandon Nankivell, and I'll see you in the next episode.